always going deeper, always feeling wonderful. We're going to go back now in time. We're going to go back in time to a long time ago. But we are not really going to go back there. We're going to go back there from here. We're going to allow you to see things that happened a long time ago from your memory. You're going to see these things that you've seen many times before, but you're going to see them differently than you've ever seen them. Before, I want you to know that you are not really going to be there. You are simply going to be seeing it from here. So if you see anything that upsets you, you are not really there. And you're going to feel totally comfortable and feel good in every way. Simply go into seeing things from a long time ago. So we're going to go back in time now. So as you go back in time, your body gets smaller. You go back in time and you get younger and smaller. Your hands get smaller. Your legs get smaller. You're coming back now in time. Coming back. When I count to 3, you're going to be turned into your 3rd grade class. When I count from the number 3 to the number 1, you're going to see yourself in your 3rd grade class. You're going to be back in the middle of 3rd grade. When I reach number 1, number 3, going back to the 3rd grade. Number 2, going back to the 3rd grade. Number 1, you're sitting in the 3rd grade class. You remember everything. And as you're sitting in your 3rd grade class, what's your teacher's name? So as you see them now and you focus on their face, you're not really there, but you're seeing it now. So as you look around, I want you to tell me who's sitting to the left of you, who's sitting to the right of you. Who else do you recognize? Did you like him or her? I'm going to count again from 3 to 1. And as I count from 3 to 1, I'm going to have you see your father. As I count from 3 to 1. When I reach 1, you're going to pretend that you see your father right here, right now, 6 to 8 feet in front of you. Number 3, producing your father. Number 2, we're just pretending. Number 1, there is your father right in front of you. What I want you to do now is, I want you to speak to your father. I want you to tell your father something that you need to tell him concerning the way he programmed you, concerning the way you are. Something you need to tell him. Something you need to tell him that you never told him. Tell him what you need to say. Number 3, number 2, number 1. Tell him what you need to say. Something you need to tell him now. Okay, when I count from 3 again, you're going to change places with your father. Number 3, you're changing places with your father, talking back to you. Number 2, You're pretending to be your father. Number 1. Alright. Did you hear what they said? Did you hear what he had to say now to tell him? What do you think of that? Quite possibly when you were growing up, possibly that you were a child growing up, in a grown-up's world, a child operating in a grown-up world. Maybe you felt out of place. After all children had to operate in a grown-up's world. Isn't that right? And some things that your father may have said to you may have influenced your programming. Simply send your father love right now. Anything that he might have said to you accidentally, it doesn't matter. Just simply say, Dad, I forgive you. Same with mum or siblings. Is there anyone in your life right now, or that has been in your life before? Anyone you can think of at all? We've all been hurt before. We all know that. Anyone who may have hurt you and you were never able to forgive them. Anyone at all? Bring that person up. 3, 2, 1. Tell them why they hurt you. Tell them now. Tell them why. You can finally say it to them. You can say it. You can let all the emotions out. Trade places. You heard what they had to say. Go ahead and say it. Just pretend you're the other and say what you have to say. Trade back forgiveness. Tell the other right now. Tell them and you mean it. More relaxed. More relaxed. You see, a lot of people hurt us when we were younger. A lot of people programmed us, and now you realize that. Now you realize that you're at a point in your life right now where you can forgive them. You can forgive them now because now you want to go on with your life. So you say out loud, you are at a point in your life where you can say it now. You can say it out loud. Anyone who ever hurt me, I forgive them now. Now there is one more person. One more person. You see, you have an inner child within you. We all have an inner child within us. And that inner child is always going to be there. You see, the inner child doesn't know. That they didn't do anything wrong. After all, you are simply a child operating in an adult's world. You didn't do anything wrong. And every time mum or dad or anybody else said something that made you feel inferior or insufficient in any way, well, the child believed it, of course. Then you became an adult. You grew up and you realized as an adult that you didn't have to take that any longer. So consciously as an adult you realized that you were okay and that you never did anything wrong. But you see that child within you doesn't realize that. So you're going to make that child realize that now. You're going to use wonderful, powerful imagination and visualization. You're going to see that child, because that's you. You're going to see that child. You're going to pretend that that child is in your arms, and you're going to hold that child in your arms. And as you talk to that child in your arms, you can say, I forgive you, and say I love you, and I'll always protect you, and I'll never let anybody hurt you, because you are my inner child. Just let go of that now. Just relax now and let that go. As you listen to my voice for a second, I want you to know something now, because you're about to be programmed with all positive energy. You realize now that everything in our lives was simply a result of somebody else's programming, somebody else's agenda that just happened to influence you. And when that inner child was influenced, as he was, he grew up with those influences. It was hard as that child attempted to do those influences. Just kept that child back because that child was programmed by other people. But now you're programmed by yourself. The only thing that counts is what you have to have, and you're going to have it very quickly. But I want you to realize something, that everything you did in those days, everything that you were programmed for during those days was necessary. The reason it was necessary was that you learned a lot from it. You came along the way, and the reason now that you can make the rest of your life a total success and joy is because all of the things that went through. Take a deep breath.